really, really there for each other in a big way, and their friendship and strength of their friendship attracts everyone else.
Harry does belong, and not only does he belong, but he has people who are willing to follow him.
Even though we've got a fight ahead of us, we've got one thing that Voldemort doesn't have. Something worth fighting for.
We've taken a bunch of kids who really don't belong anywhere, and they've found each other and formed their own friendships, and out of those alliances, they're going to change the world. We long to change the world, and we don't always get a chance. But with Harry and Hermione and Ron, we get to join up with them and change the world with them.
Prepare yourself.
Up next, we look at Harry's greatest blind spot when we return to the hidden secrets of Harry Potter. In Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, we find that characters are often not as they seem, but also sometimes not as they have been judged.
It's one of Joe's perennial themes, really, that you can't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes things that feel familiar and lovely can have a dark underside.
Are you going to kill me, Harry?
And things that are horrible and that you judge quickly, there can be something more to them.
It's easy to just dismiss someone as being not liking them or whatever, but actually giving someone a chance,
hey, Potter,
despite how you might at first dislike them, can be very, very difficult. Especially for someone like Harry, who I think is quite instinctual.
How are you?
Spectacular.
Now, Harry, he's a good kid. He's got a good heart. He wants to make the right choices. He always wants to serve his friends. He never takes the easy way out. He's always looking to do the right thing. But he has some blinders on.
What's the matter, Potter? Bit beyond your reach?
When he meets someone, it'll be pretty instant whether he likes them or not. The lessons that he's learnt generally over these films is that you can't ever assume something about a person.
And in first place, Slytherin House.
He really is convinced that anybody that has anything to do with the Slytherin house is a bad guy. He's had his bad experiences with Draco.
I don't give a damn what your father thinks, Malfoy. No! He's vile and cruel, and you're just pathetic.
Harry has this built-in hatred of Slytherin, which is beyond any reasonable hatred. He simply does not talk to someone because they're Slytherin. They're enemies automatically.
Who do we know who thinks all Muggle-borns are scum?
But Malfoy, the heir of Slytherin.
Well, maybe Ron's right, Hermione. I mean, look at his family. A whole lot of them have been in Slytherin for centuries.
One of the major themes we see in all the films is about the evil of prejudice.
Harry is a walking example of that. On the other hand, he's the example of that starting to break down. He is the one that puts Dumbledore's army together, which has 3 of the 4 houses all together.
I'm okay.
Draco will say horrible things about Ron because he's poor.
You see, Weasley, unlike some, my father can afford the best.
We see horrible things said about Hermione because she's a mudblood.
Enemies of the heir, beware. You'll be next, mudbloods.
Draco represents more than just a bad, mean kid. He represents the meanness of that intolerant attitude in Harry's life.
I got a real treat for you today. A great lesson.
God, this place has gone to the dogs. Wait until my father hears that Dumbledore's got this oath-teaching classes.
Shut up, Malfoy.
The prejudice that's built into the world as it is now is its greatest weakness and is what Voldemort uses.
Get out! It's the
He is constantly working on distrust between different wizards.
This castle will not only be your home this year, but home to some very special guests as well.
Why did Dumbledore insist that they have a Triwizard Tournament? Because he knew that the only way they were going to defeat Voldemort is if he can start to gather good people together and try to get over the prejudices which are leaving the wizarding world ripe for Voldemort and his philosophy.
Voldemort's philosophy, which comes down to every man for himself, you're only alone. Love is an irrelevance.
Should I divulge how I truly lost my powers? It was love. But no matter, things have changed.
The filters that we look through, the beliefs that we hold in our heart, largely determine how much we really understand. The glasses that we wear, these will restrict us.
What's that? Hey, read the badge, Potter. Could I have a word?
Maybe the big problems that they have to overcome in order to eventually have a victory over Voldemort is a victory over their own prejudices. And I know people have taken that idea and said, well, then somewhere along the line, there's got to be a reconciliation between Draco and Harry.
And though the wizarding world is a place where the oddest and quirkiest misfits find a home, even here, there are some that seem to be rejected by all.
Everyone says Luna Lovegood.
One of the wonderful Ravenclaw characters, Luna Lovegood, is chastised as being loony.
Luna Lovegood is very eccentric, and she believes in all these creatures like Nargles that don't exist, but she's convinced they are. And all the kids kind of give her a wide berth because she's completely off the wall. The closer you get to her, though, you suddenly start to appreciate that she's actually talking a lot of sense.
She is a glorious spirit, very comfortable with who she is, very much inhabits her own world. She's comfortable being on her own and dreaming.
She kind of floats along through life. Everyone thinks she's a bit silly, but she's not. She's really clever. Well, if I were you-know-who, I'd want you to feel cut off from everyone else. Because if it's just you alone, you're not as much of a threat.
She's, in a way, the most perceptive of the characters. She sees things that nobody else can see. If you take in the prejudice of the world against her, you'll miss out on all those things.
She's lost one of her parents. Harry's drawn to her because he feels they're sort of kindred spirits in a way.
It's a strange bond between Harry and Luna. They're both outsiders.
Luna introduces Harry to another group of outsiders, the magical creatures known as Thestrals.
You're not going mad. I can see them too.
Thestrals can only be seen by people who've seen death, and it's quite intimidating and quite scary. And then later in the forest, Luna introduces him to them properly.
They're quite gentle, really, but people avoid them because they're a bit
different. If you can imagine the apocalypse, they look like the type of things that the four horsemen would be riding. They are like the horses of death.
When you look at them quickly, they're really scary. They're kind of dark and devil-like and spooky. And then when you get up a little bit closer, they're not that at all. They're actually quite beautiful and elegant and graceful and wonderful. In fact, when they spread their wings.
Another character ready to spread his wings is the oft-forgotten, much maligned Neville Longbottom.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Neville.
Neville starts off as really this sweet doofus who can't do anything right. He can't remember things. He can't do well in his classes.
Expelliarmus!
He can't use a wand well. He's just not a very good wizard. I think we have to be asking ourselves, now, why was Neville put in Gryffindor? Why was this wussy, sweet kid put into the house of bravery and courage and boldness?
Why is it always me?
We find out this year everything that's happened to him in his life has been feeding this anger, and now he just wants to unleash it.
Expelliarmus!
Fantastic, Neville. Well done. His relationship with Neville, they find out they're actually even closer than they knew.
So, how are we getting to London?
He's not the person that Harry would have chosen to have by his side. Certainly he's not the person at the beginning of Sorcerer's Stone. If we were saying, let's pick the allies that Harry's going to need, we would never pick Neville. He turned out to not be who we thought he was going to be, in a really lovely way.
Bellatrix Lestrange.
Neville Longbottom, is it? How's Mum and Dad?
Better now they're about to be avenged.
I think we get to see ourselves in the misfits of the world and get to say, you know what, it doesn't matter if I'm not the richest, prettiest, most powerful, smartest, most influential. What I do matters. What Luna does matters. What Neville does matters.